Hey there, teachers. Have you ever felt like transitions in your classrooms are like trying to herd cats? Those chaotic moments between activities eat up that valuable learning time and leave everyone feeling maybe frazzled. But what if I told you there's a way to make them smooth and seamless? Hi, I'm April, an upper elementary teacher passionate about making classroom management engaging, effective, and fun. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a video. Today we're diving into one of the trickiest parts of teaching, managing transitions smoothly. So grab your favorite beverage, maybe a notebook and a pen, sit on back, and let's get started. Transitions aren't just about moving from one task to another. They're essential for maintaining that momentum and keeping our students engaged. When they're done right, transitions can help students mentally shift gears and stay focused, ultimately maximizing that precious instructional time. Plus, smooth transitions can promote that independence, time management skills, and even some social emotional development. So, let's dive into some practical strategies to make this happen. First up, let's talk planning and preparation. Some of my favorite things for sure. As you map out your lesson plans, think about where those transitions are going to occur. Plan the logistics. It might seem like a strange thing to plan, but the more you do it, the easier it becomes. So, what materials are the students going to need to gather for the lesson? Or how do you need to make sure the desks are arranged for the next activity? Thinking ahead to these types of parts of transitions actually helps address any potential issues before they arise. So try mapping those out this week during your lesson planning and see what a difference it makes. Let me know in the comments below how it goes. Next, you can use signals and cues to help guide your students. So again, consistency is key here. Whether it's a chime, a bell, a hand signal, a visual timer, establish those clear signals early on and stick to them. If you don't stick to them, then they become meaningless. So for example, one of the things that I use in my classroom is a doorbell. I saw this years ago on social media, and when I tried it in my classroom, I fell in love with it. I use it consistently, but that's not the only signal I use throughout the day. That actually designates a very specific type of transition. The bell means clean up quickly, put everything away, and sit and wait quietly for directions. And that's something that we practice over and over and over throughout the school year. One of my other favorite signals is when I want students to focus and pay attention to me, maybe while they're working independently or while they're working in partners or groups, is at the beginning of the year, I play part of the song Hand Clap by Fitz and the Tantrums. If you don't know the song, I encourage you to go watch it and listen to it at some points. But at one point, or actually multiple points throughout the song, they say, "I can make your hands clap," and then they do. Okay, so then when you do that, I play snippets of the song. I only play snippets of the song because there are some inappropriate things to the song. But then we do the clap. Okay, and so then throughout the rest of the year, my students know, okay, when she says, "I can make your hands clap," they drop everything, do their clap, look at me, and wait for directions. Okay, again, you got to practice these transitions. If they don't do it well the first time, guess what? We do it again. Another way to keep students engaged during transitions is to use maybe a brain break or an energizer, different things to get them moving and ready for the next lesson. Okay, so this not only helps the students with focus, but it makes those transitions maybe more fun and more meaningful. Okay, so sometimes when they just need a quick energizer, like when they're just not awake and ready in the morning, I'm like, everybody get up. We're doing 10 jumping jacks, sit down and be ready to answer the next question. Because then, yeah, they're moving their bodies, but then they're also thinking at the same time. You could even come up with a trivia question related to the lesson that's coming up. That could be a simple, fun thing to do. You could do a quick game to transition between activities. So especially between subjects when you're trying to get them moving and ready. And of course, just using a brain break in general. Sometimes they just need a break because when we're working and learning for an hour plus at a time, that's exhausting mentally. Sometimes they just need a break. That is okay. They're kids. Even adults can't focus. How long have you been truly paying attention to this video? Now, despite our best efforts, sometimes transitions just don't go as planned. Maybe students are hesitant to stop a really engaging activity, or transitions are taking way longer than expected. When this happens, be flexible, but involve your students in how to solve the problem. So hold a quick discussion to brainstorm ideas for how to make a smoother transition. Not only is this empowering for the students, but it creates a sense of that ownership over those classroom routines and procedures. So sometimes when we are working on something, the students don't want to stop because they're so engaged and they're working so hard, but it's time to clean up because we have to get ready for the next thing. And so I will put up a timer on the board, and they know by the time that timer's done, they need to be cleaned up at their seats waiting quietly for further instructions. Now, you got to think about maybe sometimes that's not even motivating for some kids. So give some an incentive. It doesn't have to be a tangible thing. It could be a verbal praise or a shout out to a group that did the best. Give them some kind of incentive or positive reinforcement to really show that they are setting the example, so hopefully others will follow suit. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a list of transitions that you could try in your classroom. Maybe just pick a couple to start with and see really what works for you and keeps the students engaged and makes everything run much more smoothly. So I already shared the hand clap with you. You could also try other songs or chants. A popular one a lot of teachers do is 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. And then you can have the students, instead of just saying 1, 2, eyes on you. That's not helpful. Okay, 1, 2, eyes on you. And then they put their hands down. Okay, and then they're focused on you. That created a movement, and it also keeps their hands down. Okay, so you could do that. You could do chants. You could do lots of different things. You could also use visual timers. So if you're transitioning between activities or subjects, put up a visual timer. I would say depending on what it is, if there involves a lot of cleanup, 5 minutes at the most. If it's something that should be really quick, 1 minute should be sufficient. And I do have timers on my YouTube channel here that has its plain background countdown with some sounds, keeps them going. You could assign classroom jobs. So when we're transitioning to line up, if there's somebody who's already the line leader, then it makes the transition easier because people aren't worried about being the first in the line. Or you could have somebody who's in charge of passing materials out. You could also do a teacher helper. It doesn't have to be specific jobs to specific people. You could also keep your kids engaged with different games and activities. So let's say, for example, they're really needing to work on transitioning between the carpet into their seats. And you could create a different quick activity to get them back. And I'm really trying to think of an example here. Hold on. Maybe, I have an idea. So I love basketball. That's my favorite sport. So maybe the people who get back to their seats and are quiet and ready first, you give them a basketball and they get to go shoot one basket. I don't know. I just totally made that up on the spot. But you choose what works best for you and your students. Again, you could do some brain breaks. So sometimes we need a little break before we transition into the next thing. Pop up a brain break from a website or YouTube, something that's fun and engaging for the kids, gets their bodies moving, gets them thinking about something ready to go next. And as soon as it's over, they know they need to get started. You could also work on promoting collaboration, so partner and group transition. So I like to award house chips for students in groups, partners, and individually who are doing things, but when they're really doing all the right things together, that makes it even stronger because they're building that community with each other. You could also have specific schedules displayed on the board. So you could have, here's the materials you need, here's our schedule for how we're going to break this down. I don't always recommend putting time on there because time can fluctuate depending on your students' needs, but having maybe a timer on there, counting things down or counting up, whichever one works for you. Lots of different ways that you can do that. Making sure that you have those consistent routines. So creating those consistent routines, procedures, and transitions. Even having these students lead the transitions. I had a student a few years ago, this was more of a positive thing, but it could work as a transition, is he would always count down and everybody would clap. And he would go 1, 2, and everybody clapped and they knew to do the same thing. You could even have the students lead something like that as well. Something I do at the gym is they say we're going to end camp like we always do with 2 claps on 2, 1, 2, and then we know we disperse and go on our merry ways. Okay, lots of different ways you can think about how can you transition, how can the students help lead those transitions. And then, of course, talking about this during a morning meeting or a class meeting. How are the transitions going? What are they doing well? What do they need to improve? And coming up again with some of that student empowerment and student involvement really does help with those transitions. Smooth transitions are the glue that holds everything together in our classrooms. So if we do not have our students flowing seamlessly from one activity to the next, then it's going to lead to chaos and not create a very conducive learning environment. So think about preparing. What types of transitions are you going to have throughout the lessons? Using clear signals for the students, making sure we're practicing and implementing those at the very beginning of this year to help throughout the school year. Keep your students engaged throughout those transitions, addressing any challenges that you are facing in the classroom. And this is going to help transform those transitions into opportunities for the students. It's going to add that instructional time that we so desperately need. So here is your challenge. Try implementing one new transition strategy in your classroom this week or in this upcoming school year. Observe and take notes on the impact on student engagement and classroom management, and share your experiences in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, be sure to check out the other videos in my classroom management series. I've got tips on everything from behavior management to setting up your classroom for success. And don't forget to grab your free classroom management guide. It's packed with tips and strategies to help you create a positive and productive learning environment for you and your students. The link is in the description below. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your fellow teachers. I can't wait to see you in the next one, and I love this journey for you.